Hi folks, Chaplain Dan here. Once in a while people come to me and there's somebody in their life whom they love that is addicted. And they ask me what to do. Well, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. But today in this video I wanted to talk about what can you do when someone you love is addicted. I've got to give two quick caveats before we start this though. First, we're talking about adults here. If you have a child in the home, your approach probably needs to be a little bit different than what we're talking about here. This video is about adults whom you love that are addicted. And the second thing is that this video does not address violence in a relationship. Physical violence changes the whole dynamic. You need to seek godly counsel and wisdom. But this video, we're not really going to get into that topic today. So, if you're still listening, I've got some bad news, I got some good news, and I got a little bit of advice I want to give you. The bad news is you can't change them, no matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter if the person in question is a spouse or boyfriend, your childhood BFF, or your battle buddy from the war. If your central goal is to change that other person, your motive is going to come through, and it's more likely to cause resistance and resentment than to actually help them to change. In Romans chapter 12, it says, "Let love be genuine." Genuine love does hold people accountable, but genuine love is not conditional. The second piece of bad news is that if a person feels like they're being forced to change, they may initially show some signs of change, but that change won't last. It's just human nature. The heart has to be changed, otherwise it's just outward. In Luke chapter 11, Jesus says, "When the unclean spirit has gone out of a person, it passes through waterless places seeking rest. And finding none, it says, 'I will return to my house from which I came.' And when it comes, it finds the house swept and put in order. Then it goes and finds 7 other spirits more evil than itself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of that person is worse than the first." I think the principle behind what Jesus is saying here is that outward change, the throwing out of a sinful habit, is not the same as an actual change of the heart. But there's good news too. The first piece of good news is that God can change this person. You see, God alone has the power to change someone's heart. And there's a lot of examples in our world of people who are absolutely lost to addictions and evil behaviors, but God intervened. The person you love may be resistant to God, but God can break through that resistance. Your job is to pray for them and to love them through it. The second piece of good news is that if you will submit to God's will here, He'll change you in the process. Now, you probably thought the goal was to change the other person, but in reality, God loves you just as much as He loves that other person. And God is at work changing you through this process too. If you think you have it figured out, or that the other person's problem is a higher priority, well, you're making a lot of assumptions about God's plan here. If I could give advice to somebody who is dealing with a loved one in addiction, it would be just a couple things. The first one is this: love requires healthy boundaries. When you love someone who's addicted, it hurts. It's going to hurt. But you can't let that person's problems become the central focus of your life. In extreme situations, you may even have to sever ties for an extended period of time. Sometimes the baggage between two people is just too much, and your presence can actually become a hindrance to that other person's ability to heal. Now, if you're married, seek wise and godly counsel before you do that. You need to have a plan in place for how you go about that separation in marriage. And frankly, the end goal should be restoration. If you're not married to somebody, it may be very open-ended in the sense that there may never be able to be a restoration of that relationship. But hopefully, there can be restoration in your marriage. I believe that is God's will in the vast majority of cases. The other piece of advice I would give is get into counseling. or into some sort of family recovery group. Things like Al-Anon exist for a reason. If you love someone who's in addiction, you need some love and support too. And if you go to a group for people who are dealing with those same kinds of problems, you're going to get some wisdom, you're going to get some love and support, and frankly, it's going to help you in your process of growing in faith as well. And finally, and most importantly, pray faithfully. Be careful that your prayers are not just, God, please change him. God, please change him. Okay? Don't just pray that over and over. Pray for your loved one's well-being. Pray for God's will for their life. And pray for God's will in your life as well. When you love someone in addiction, God is going to change you in the process too. If you are watching this video, then God's doing something in your life. He loves you very, very much. And friends, there is hope. Thank you for watching. God bless you.